My name's Robert. I'm the CEO and co-founder at CloudSigma. And today I wanted to show you and explain a little bit more about our new platform as a service offering, which is really quite unique and proving to be very popular with our customer base. But first, just a little bit about our company as a background. We were founded in 2009. So we're something of a veteran in the cloud services space. We're a Swiss company, but actually we operate, it's almost 17 locations worldwide, and that's growing. And we have our own cloud offering and service that we bring to the market that we've developed over those 12 years. That's allowing us to offer this global network of locations with quite a unique take on cloud services. And really, I can tell you as one of the co-founders of the company, our motivation and why we founded the company was to create a customer-defined cloud environment, meaning it's an environment where you as a customer and end user have more control over defining that environment. That's everything from the software that you run to the ability to configure the environment and the billing, which also is very fair and tracks what you're doing. And at the end of the day, the idea is that you don't have the same vendor lock-in when you're using CloudSigma that you might have with other platforms. And that's kind of an ethos that percolates through all of the different services that we offer. And you'll see that when I get to showing you the platform as a service as well. So some of the things we concentrate on as a company, one of the things is great service. So we have the number one actually cited reason why customers use CloudSigma when we do the surveys of them is our end user service, our customer service. And that's because we provide 24/7 customer service over email and live chat to everybody for free. And all of those people, it's not bots, it's people. And those teams sit with our operations team, so they're fully aware of what's going on in the cloud. And they're also able to escalate very easily issues that need escalating up to the operations team. And the average response time, if you were to ask a question on a live chat, it's less than 15 seconds. And that's the average. And that's over tens of thousands of chats that we've analyzed. So we really focus on you feeling supported as you use our platform. So you can feel and see that we are a trusted partner for you in the service delivery that we're working together to achieve. Also, we have the relevant ISO certifications. So anything that you're running on our platform comes under those ISO certifications. They're renewed, and we do an audit every year. And the whole company is actually audited. It's not just some section of the company. So we're also able to give you the assurances that are backed by real audits. And we have the relevant certifications in the area that we operate, meaning cloud and cloud services. So with that in mind, I'm going to switch to the demo. Here is the web app platform that we use. And this actually is the infrastructure as a service platform, but integrated into this is our new, as you can see here, new platform as a service offering. So I'm going to click that and it's going to load in. And basically, this is a fully integrated environment. So you can use the infrastructure as a service, which we've been offering for many years, and that integrates fully into the platform as a service offering as well, which is nice. So you have a unified billing and a unified orchestration. Now, what the platform as service system does is it gives you an application level service. So essentially you can deliver an environment. So we're delivering an environment to you as an end user rather than a server which you're then running yourself, basically. And there are a number of ways of doing that. So I can show you the easiest way of setting up an environment or a service, and that's the marketplace. So these are specific use cases that are very common that you can use as a sort of one-click deployment that allows you to get up and running very quickly with a solution. So for example, if you wanted like a MySQL cluster, very popular database, you could click install and basically some small configuration options, install, and it will deploy that into your account. And that's basically giving you a database as a service offering. And so what you have to see here is that rather than an alternative platform where they are giving you the kind of like they are anointing certain services to say, here is our SQL service, here is our NoSQL service, here is our this, that, and the other service. Everything is proprietary to them. So that SQL service is the, name your large vendor SQL service. And unfortunately, that means if you build something against that service, it doesn't work if you want to move it to another cloud or onto your own infrastructure. And the difference in our approach is that we're saying, no, you can build or define your own service. You still have the same convenience. It still behaves exactly the same as those other services. It is a database as a service in this example that I'm giving you. But at the end of the day, it's a database that is not proprietary to CloudSigma. And that means that you and your computing is not proprietary to CloudSigma. So you get the benefit of a platform as a service delivery, which I'll show you in more detail in a moment. But at the same time, there's no vendor lock-in. So that's a really unique combination. So as you can see on here, it's not just databases. You can set up a Docker Swarm, Kubernetes cluster, just kind of plain vanilla container environments, Docker Engine as well. But other things like, Open VPN service, WordPress, Drupal, Joomla. So you have all the main kind of websites. You also have OwnCloud, which is a great kind of enterprise services platform, and it goes on. I mean, there are kind of many, many sections here. So you get the idea here that you can come in. If there's a ready solution already set up for you, you can just click and go, and that's going to deploy into your account. And I'll show you a little bit more once you've deployed an environment what you can do, because you also have a lot of control over that. The other way you can go is to actually build your own environment. So if you want to create your own sort of DevOps stack, you can do so again using this tool. So really, the first thing you do is you define, what is the application technology environment that you want. So you can see on here you have a lot of different options: so Java, PHP, Ruby, .NET, Node.js, Python, Golang, and then you have a kind of container option here at the end, which is sort of agnostic to the application. So I'm going to choose Python, very popular. The system works the same way for all the technologies. And so you can see here, I've got my Python environment defined here, and I can go in and I could change the option for which Python version I wanted, etc. Now you can see here you have other elements, and so you can start building your stack here. And what this also allows you to do is create automatic scaling. It's one of the benefits of using PaaS, is the ability to scale up as you need to. And the way it works is we have a very unique scaling ability. We build everything in these cloudlets, and each cloudlet is very small. It's only 128 megabytes of RAM, 400 megahertz of CPU. And what you can do is this is vertical scaling, you can kind of create the limit to your scaling. But the beauty is the billing system only bills you based on what you're actually using. So if you put reserved of 1, it's only going to scale up based on the load. So there's no penalty for putting a higher scaling limit. It's quite the opposite. So it gives you that ability to scale up and scale down in a very granular way. And you can also do horizontal scaling here as well. So I can go in and say I want a cluster of 4 application environments. Then you see it's added a load balancer, and again, you don't have to use Nginx. You could use, HA proxy or Varnish or Lightspeed, whatever your preferences are. Let me use HA proxy for argument's sake. I can go in and then I can actually set up again the scaling of the load balancing service. So right now I've just created an application environment, and I've also created myself a load balancing as a service. But again, it's using standard load balancers, very well-established ones that allow you to have portability. And then just finally, I'll show you a couple of other options. You can, of course, go in and let's set up a Redis, like a NoSQL service. So we've got MongoDB, but let's use Redis instead. I like Redis in memory. And then we can create some vertical scaling. We can cluster this. Let's make it 3. And basically, that environment's ready to go. So I can now create that environment, and it will then spawn the environment, and I can go ahead and start using it. And the benefit is that you're engaging at the application level. You don't have to worry about how is that environment scaled up and scaled down, the provisioning of the database, all those kind of things are done for you. So it's a very robust system. And you can see here the hourly rate, depending on how much, what your consumption is based on these scaling limits. And then finally, I just wanted to show you, if we go in here and let's look at, you can see I've got a Jenkins environment running, and I also have a Kubernetes cluster. So let me go into the Kubernetes cluster, and you can see the different elements here. And I can go in and define something. So let me go in and go to settings. And I can go into the scaling, and I can actually choose how I want to, let's just remove these first. So I can go in and create scaling rules. So again, think of this as you've got your own Kubernetes environments, you've got Kubernetes as a service, but the unique thing is here you're defining that service. It's kind of like a service built for you, but managed by CloudSigma. So we can add some scaling rules. So now we can go in and say, which element are we caring about for scaling? Let's start with workers, because they're the ones that most likely are going to need to scale. And I can say, okay, let's do it based on memory. So, okay, add a node when memory goes above, let's say 90% usage, and remove a node when it goes below, let's say 30%. And I can add that rule. And now it's going to scale that environment up and down based on that rule. I can also go in and make other rules based on networking, disk usage, etc. And of course, you have the different elements that you can also scale independently. So this, in principle, has how it works. You're able to create the environment, and then once you've got the environment, you actually have quite a lot of control in terms of how that's all managed. And then finally, I wanted to go through the billing, because the billing approach is actually very unique, and it's very fair to the customer compared to other platforms. We always have had a utility style approach to billing. That means that we try and reduce the number of billing elements that you are billed against, and we try and make the billing as predictable and transparent as possible. Because again, we feel that one of the big kind of letdowns or criticisms of cloud is often that the bills are difficult to predict. It can be overly complicated. And so that makes it hard for customers to understand exactly what the bill is going to be at the end of the month. That's not the case at CloudSigma. It's actually quite the opposite. And we've extended that concept into the platform as a service and the way we bill for platform as a service. So the first thing is that, as you've seen, you have those auto-scaling abilities. So you can really make sure you have a kind of a linear performance even as you scale up and scale down. So those services can be very responsive to the end users, whoever they are. Maybe that's an internal service for your company or an external service that you're offering to end users. And the other thing, as you saw, is that you can commit to a very low level if you want to, and then have it scale up and down automatically. Or over time, when you get a feeling for where the minimum consumption is, you can increase that minimum commitment, and that'll be more cost effective. But you're in control of that. And of course, there are scaling limits, and you're setting them. So you're very much in control of understanding when things are happening. You can also set alerts on those scaling rules that I showed you to have automated, to be automatically informed of scaling when it happens. So you're fully in control. And all of the systems online that you saw are real time, so you can see the actual account balance, any billing that's being put against your account, etc. And it's running all the time. So it's not the case where you're waiting, there's consumption happening for a week or longer, and you're wondering how much is all this going to cost me, and that creates obviously some concern. In fact, everything's real time, and so your account balance is keeping up with your consumption. So you can have a confidence in where you are in terms of cost. And then, as you saw, you can scale both vertically and also horizontally. So it has the ability to cluster across multiple nodes to give you resiliency. And each one of those nodes will scale up and down based on those scaling rules that you set. You can also leave it on automatic, and it does a pretty good job for most people in scaling the service up and down anyway. So although you can define it and tweak it, most people leave it on automatic initially, and they find that it does a good job just not having to even worry about it. But you do have the ability there to go in and do that. And as you can see, the scaling, there are also quite a few details on the horizontal scaling that you can set in terms of clustering, stateful, stateless, etc. All those kind of options are definable as well. So those are things that you can also go in and get into the detail of. But here you can really kind of see the difference between how we're billing and how a traditional virtual machine billing would work. So basically, with a virtual machine, really you're setting the size of that virtual machine, and essentially when you're looking at it in a micro way, over the course of an hour or day. The load might vary quite significantly, but that virtual machine, you're not realistically resizing it all the time. Now you can bring in additional VMs, remove them in a cluster, but ultimately there is loss within that virtual machine because you can't resize it in a dynamic way. Not really, anyway. On the platform as a service, it's very different because you have these very small scaling units, and the way it's built is actually based on your usage within that. So you're not built based on the size that you determine, as you saw. You're built actually on the usage over time, in real time. So you can see here, it follows your load curve. So all of that area between the green line and that kind of dotted line at the top, that would be sort of wasted that you would have had to pay for in the IaaS environment, but in the past you're able to save that through scaling. So there are some really good potential benefits to save money looking at the PaaS, as well as increasing the service performance. So in reality, customers are going to mix and match IaaS with PaaS based on the use case, but one of the benefits of PaaS is this really granular billing. And actually, this is a bit more detail on how it works, but basically these small units are very granular and dynamic. So it's going to come within very, very small resource consumption of your actual usage over time. So that was an overview of the billing. I hope to see you on the platform soon. We're certainly seeing more and more users starting to integrate PaaS into their usage of cloud because for the reasons that we talked about, it's bringing a lot higher level of automation to customers' environments. And actually, beyond the savings in more accurate billing and the vendor lock-in that we sort of address in terms of addressing some of the weaknesses that we see in other cloud platforms, the overall push towards platform as a service is very much about reducing the labor time needed to manage environments, because more and more labor cost is a significant factor in service delivery for customers or our customers. And so anything that allows them to automate their environments, to deal with complex tasks more easily, allows them to increase the productivity of their development and operations teams. And so platform as a service can certainly play a big role in that. And that's why we're seeing a lot of our customers moving at least some of their workloads onto platform as a service, because it's allowing them to create relatively complex environments in a very short space of time, and for them to be able to manage that over time with very little overhead. And this is really one of the key drivers that we see in customers using PaaS, and it's one of the reasons why I would encourage you also to consider using platform as a service, because it's a great labor-saving device. And with the CloudSigma version, you're also keeping control of that environment, and you're not getting locked into a proprietary solution. So we would encourage you all to come and have a look and check out the CloudSigma service offering all through our partners globally. You can go to cloudsigma.com and you'll see clearly there the sign-up links. Actually, everybody can receive a free 7-day trial, and that includes the platform as a service, and that includes enough resources for you to be able to create your first environments and get familiar with the platform. And if you are serious about using the platform and you like what you see, do contact our support team, because they're able to upgrade your account with more resources if you have a sort of specific testing requirement that you want to achieve on the platform. And I can tell you that the people that go to the stage of doing a proof of concept, 70 to 80% of them end up choosing our platform. So I definitely encourage you to come to cloudsigma.com, check out the free trial, and get hands-on with the platform, because it really is quite user-friendly and very cost-effective. So thank you for your time.